We are officially now recording the 13th At What Cost Discord meeting. Welcome everybody who's here now live, and welcome everybody who's watching later down the road. For those who can't make it, these are posted on YouTube now, specifically swear free. I did find where all the swearing included. You have to go into the belly of the Discord, into the resource channel to find all the swearing days of our meetings, but they're there if you want to find them. But that was a much more of an aggressive time. This is the friendly versions now. They're on YouTube, so welcome everybody. This is our 13th. We have these meetings every other Friday at 9 o'clock at night. Started at the very beginning at 9 o'clock so that night crew can join. Cheers to Tony, one of the OGs who makes it every time. He's on night crew. All the other night crew people that get to make it live. And for those of you that work early mornings like me and stay up into the night to make it live, cheers to us as well. There have been discussions about whether or not we should move the time. And I think that if we were going to do something like that, we should maybe have multiple meetings and still keep this one as like always going. But I'll leave that up to everybody to decide on and vote and have a discussion on whenever they want. But my vote, or what I would vote for, is to do it more than once, not necessarily uh, move this one. Got to respect the night crew people that have been here since the beginning. So heads up, who are we? We're at what cost? We're a group of UFCW Local 8 people, a UFCW revitalization group. We want to make our union strong, and we think we can do that by getting smarter and building solidarity, connecting with each other, and participating in our union through all the meetings and all the democracy that does exist within our bylaws. And so we do that by getting together with meetings like this and meeting up in person, and however else we can do it through our union, participating in anything that they've got going on as well. And we've been connecting and talking to people in other unions and other locals, and that's a big piece of this as well, is building that additional solidarity with brothers and sisters in the Teamsters. Shout out to everybody out in the Teamsters that we've been hanging out with lately, and in the UFCW, specifically in different locals. It's been cool to meet everybody out there and connect with you guys. You'll see some of that stuff coming up in some of the things we have on our YouTube channel with Worker to Worker. So stay tuned. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But yeah, it's been really cool to just kind of like, build this group out and be a part of this group and connect with a bunch of people that I work with in Safeway and Albertsons and Raley's, and all around this idea of wanting our union to be better and stronger and more open and more democratic, and see other people and other unions and other locals kind of like connect with us and get involved in that and too, and just like not necessarily like connect with us, but real like just show solidarity and support, and participate in our Discord, in our chats, and inviting us to things that we'll talk about later. But anyway, that's been really cool. So that's us. That's At What Cost. And if you're watching this video, you're more than welcome to join in, participate. These meetings, these meetups, these social media groups that we talk about, they're all just, it's us that makes it. So if you want to make something like that, or you want to participate in something like that, just go ahead and do it. If you want to have a meeting, like, you should call it, and I bet a lot of people that are able to show up will show up. If it's at a different day and a different time, I bet you'll get a different group showing up to it. So highly recommend it. Find some way to let me know, because I'd love to be there. And yeah, it basically, if you're trying to make the UFCW a stronger union, you're more than welcome to join in and participate any way you want to. And so with that, we will roll on and talk about some of the social media stuff that we have going on. Our Discord server is where all the stuff goes on, kind of like on the day to day. It's where this meeting's happening. It's where you can join in and participate in this meeting. So it's kind of like the inside where all the stuff is going on 24/7, conversations in the hall. It's where we talk about all the different events and the meetups that we're having, share articles and stuff that's important to union organizing and things like that. It's where all of our take action campaigns can be found. You can see all the things we're working on. Like right now, we've got our button campaign going on, and we'll talk about that later. But all that stuff's organized there. If you want to talk about or hear about what's going on with the Safeway contract, there's a channel for that. So the Discord server is kind of the spot. And highly recommend that if you want to participate and you want to be involved and you want to add your voice on like that level, that's where you go to do it. That's kind of the action zone there. And we've got 3 new members there since our last meeting, so up to 127 people in the Discord. Shout out to everybody there. Our contact form is where you can fill out your information if you want us to stay in contact with you and let you know what's going on a monthly basis. We use the contact form, send out an email and a text message with a link to how we're doing it now is a link to a video that kind of breaks down everything that we've been up to over the last month. So if coming to the meetings or watching the meetings and participating in the Discord servers, kind of too much, but you do want to stay on top of what's going on, recommend getting the monthly update so you can be contacted that way, and we can let you know what's going on in that format. On the Instagram, we've got 85 followers, so shout out to Jake. He's somewhere. He's probably sleeping right now, but he's been running the Instagram page, and that's got 2 new followers. We're up to 85 people on the Instagram page. Facebook is here somewhere. I can look at it through my wife's page. I tried to make a Facebook page, but I got banned for some reason. So we'll see what happens with that. But Facebook's at 69 members, and I want to get in here and talk to people because I think there's like I think the Facebook page, there's a lot of people in there, and I think we can grow that fairly easily. A lot of people have a Facebook page, so just keep talking to your coworkers about the At What Cost Facebook page. It's a great way to get connected. Um, but I think this is an easy place for people to have conversations, especially off of like all the videos and all the content that we're making. We can keep the conversation going here and help it spread out to more people. And shout out to Adam. He posts a lot of stuff in here too, I've noticed. So I think the Facebook page has a lot of potential. So I wanna like participate in that a little bit more. So I'm trying to make a page so I can do that. I wasn't going to because I don't really want to make a million different social media pages, but somebody actually mentioned wanting to say something on there and then not being able to like tag me. So I'm gonna bite the bullet and we'll do it and we'll see what's up there. But join the Facebook page. Had a lot of people in there, like I said, 69. So shout out to everybody that's in Facebook so far. And if you're in there, I'm pretty sure it's easy to copy the link and share it out to different people. If you just text blast all your coworkers and be like, "Yo, get in this Facebook group." Um, Ask questions later. Get in there first, and then find out. Let's try to get as many people in on these channels as we can, connected to these different platforms as we can, so that we can, help spread the message like faster and easier when it comes to this kind of thing. I think there's more people out there that want to participate and would participate if they knew it was even going on. So one big thing that you can do to help if you're hearing this message right now is get it in the hands of somebody who's not hearing the message and maybe they want to participate on this next level, like the Facebook page, or take it even a step further and get into the Discord server and participate in those meetings. So, just a reminder, it's open to everybody. So, if you're in UFCW, Local 8 specifically, you're super welcome in here, and like you're probably going to have a lot of opportunity to impact good change in our local. But if you're in other locals and other unions and being a part of union revitalization is something you're interested in, we would love to have you in here as well. Moving on to the YouTube channel, we're up to 33 subscribers there. That's been cool. That's where all the videos are getting posted. It's just a real easy format for me to use and to get to. And I'm starting to have a bunch of different ideas about things I want to do in video content, um, including around like some educational stuff, like talking about unfair labor practices or different strikes, like economic strikes or ULP strikes specifically, that I think is, is I look for it out there, and it's not out there very easily, readily available, but more specifically for us, just to have as a resource available for people that ask for it, and to show like new members and new people that are joining the union, to kind of give them a crash course and a way to get familiar with a lot of concepts that I think are beneficial for. It's kind of like basic union member 101 stuff that we should be learning and we should be getting taught, we should be getting told, and we're not. So we should then take the initiative to do that for each other and do that for ourselves, and kind of come up with what we think is the most important stuff to do to teach each other, say at day one of our union membership, day 30 of our union membership, and year one of our union membership, and put together material that makes that easy and accessible for people to get to. Just an idea that I'm having, but the YouTube channel makes that a really easy to organize all that, post all that, and it's cool to see that growing. We're up 33 people there. That is what, 6 people above since the last meeting, so 6 new subscribers there, 13 in the last 28 days. It's also cool because you get to see like all of this information here, like uh, 32 hours of watch time in the last 28 days. I think since we started putting stuff up on the YouTube channel, that we've got almost 40 hours of watch time, and that's a pretty cool statistic because that's telling you how many people are sitting there and listening to it. And I know it's like some of it's us, some of the people that are participating in the meetings and in the room and stuff. But there's also a lot more than that. When you look at the channel and you see that it has like something 243 views in the last 28 days, that's people that are looking at and listening to us talking about what it means to be in like a more democratic, more member involved, more rank and file driven like union membership, union participation, like because that's what we are, right? Like that's us just sitting here like doing this like ourselves. So the more people get exposed to that kind of a thing, the more people see, us taking the initiative to be active members in our union. I think the more that they will want to add their voice to it because they think that, and they're right, they have good ideas that they want to contribute to the conversation, and b, like if they're in a different union or a different situation, maybe a different local than us, but similar situation to us. These are things that they can maybe take back to their union and start talking to their coworkers about, like, hey, listen, like we're used to this certain type of way, but maybe this alternative is an option for us. So um, it's this is cool to see, and like if anybody has any ideas for any other things that they think would be beneficial for at what cost to put out onto something like a YouTube channel in video form other than these meetings, feel free to share those ideas, and we'll talk about one of them that we put out recently. And I'd love to hear feedback about that when we do get to that part. But just think about this, think about the Facebook page, think about we have a TikTok page. So somebody, again, like when we talk about this, I always remind everybody that nobody's in charge of any of this. So if you want to make something, go ahead and make something. We talked about that at one of our meetups, and one of the people that was there at the meetup said, "Can I make a TikTok page?" So they did. If 1,400 followers, like this wasn't like a fresh TikTok page. Apparently this was like an art TikTok page or something that she had already like made, and she just wasn't using it, so she repurposed it. But very cool. It's like, hey, we got 1,400 followers. That is 13 more, so shout out to the 13 new TikTok followers that have joined since it became a grocery account. It does grocery workers kickoff. So that's cool, and that's got like 300 views or whatever so far, 350 views. Cool.
Hell yeah. It's an awesome use of my photos. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. Shout out, dude, to the original source of the photography there. I think that was taken off the Facebook page or something, those pictures. So Adam, thank you. But this is the kind of like it's like get it out there, circulate it around. People are seeing it, people are talking about it. Who are we? What are we doing? What's going on? The more it's out there, the more we're talking about it, the more we're spreading the message, the better. So keep it going. TikTok page, 13 new followers. And if you do make something, you do have a page out there, you are doing something, and you want us to know about it, just let me know and we'll keep track of it. And hopefully, more people can keep going into whatever platform they're using and get those messages. But that's what we've got going on there. Real quickly, with the Save Mart and the Raley's contracts, they are both expired. They're currently in extension. I'm refreshing the UFCW 8 page right now because, and the UFCW 5 page, because we had negotiations scheduled for yesterday and today. And so as of right now, no updates. So no new information other than negotiations are ongoing. We're on a day-to-day extension. We talked about it at the last meeting. So if you want to know what that means or what that is, go listen to that meeting. Any party can cancel with a 7-day written notice, and negotiations are ongoing. So we sit and we wait. Currently, um, Raley's has since joined us, so we're all expired right now and on this extension. We're kind of moving towards like the 100-day expiration of UFCW Local 7 in Colorado. That's coming up. The update out of UFCW Local 7 is that King Soopers, Kroger, the company that they're bargaining with and got the 100-day extension from, is has not offered any of the things that they needed to see to move the proposals forward. And 7 even offered to take a hit on some of their health insurance. And Kroger stuck their feet in down and said that they weren't going to budge. And so 7, UFCW 7, Kim Cordova, feels like they're kind of um, daring the employees to go on strike again after the 100 days. So we'll see what happens there. We're all of us, like the entire West Coast, from Seattle down to Southern California and over to Colorado, we're all going to be like expired and on extension at that point. So it's going to be a really interesting time if all of our local leadership decides to like pull the rug on everybody at the same time. That would be extremely powerful and probably be the closest thing to like a national contract we've ever seen in our lives. Um, it's crazy. It would be so crazy if this was like some master move where like they gave Save Mart the dollar. They told us they're gonna try to take the dollar, that's what we're gonna need to take. Stater Brothers is like that's all Stater Brothers is offering is the dollar raises. But when you look at like the grocery workers rising campaign, when you look at like their response to that, it's like no, we're not taking that. Like and straight up, it calls that $1 a year for those at the top, nothing for those who are not at top rate, nothing for department heads, nothing for anybody in different progressions, nothing for courtesy clerks. Uh, like they call that like an insulting proposal. We're coordinating with them from local 8, so it's really weird for them to say like, yeah, that's what we're trying to get for you guys, while at the same time in lockstep saying that like the Stater Brothers wage proposal falls short. Like, don't get me wrong, their language, the local 8 language, is a lot softer than what you see coming out of the grocery workers rising, but it's still the same. So it would just be super crazy if we just if like they're actually blowing smoke up our asses and they're just like they just because they don't want us to know that they're about to pull this like 1-2 punch on these companies. But it would be super sick if and don't forget like this is every person speaks for themselves, right? But I think it would be super badass if we just threw this like fat 1-2 punch and basically threatened to the entire West Coast to walk. Um, because I think it would kind of back these companies up into a corner. I don't think they could afford that. Um, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But as it stands right now, no updates specifically on our contracts. I was hoping, I've been kind of refreshing those pages like all evening. I was hoping we were going to get like a last minute update on the contracts, but nothing there. Hopefully, you know, little sliver of speculation. I don't have any inside information. They won't let us in the room, but standing up to Stater Brothers and the $1 wage proposal is, hopeful. So moving on. Next up, button up campaign. We 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 saw it. Local 8 said, "Hey, get your buttons on." Everybody kind of scoffed and was like, "Okay, whatever. That's what we're gonna do. We're on contract expiration. Like, get your buttons on." That's weak, whatever. I think that we can think about that a little differently. I think it's actually a really good idea, and everybody throwing on their buttons and getting locked in and wearing them every day with their name tags, it shows solidarity across your store. So we launched it on the 18th. So we're talking about last Friday out of our Take Action channel. Don't forget, like you can go to the Take Action channel and see what's going on there at any time. I will, if something closes off, I'll cl update it in the end date so you see that it's not ongoing. But as of right now, button campaign's ongoing. Uh, Basically, for you as an individual, you wear your button, right? And you wear it above your name tag, wear it around your store. Shout out to all your other employees who are wearing their buttons. Remind the people who aren't, like, yo, get your button on, you're not wearing your button, or whatever, however you want to do it. I suggest being polite. Um, don't, there's no sense razzing anybody or being rude about it or whatever. It's supposed to be a fun thing. Kathleen really reminded me in our conversation in Worker to Worker uh, about making it fun, and I think I need to remember that a lot more. But that it should be a fun thing to try to get everybody in your store in your buttons so that you can all show solidarity with each other, right? Like we need to know we have each other's backs, and one way to do it is this symbology that we wear above our name tags that shows that, hey, we're all in this together. Here I am with my buttons. I got my essential worker button on. Uh, so first steps to get it from your reps, right? I would think that if this was something that was going on, that they would be like all over this and they would be like really making sure everybody's got buttons. They've been in the stores and they've been kind of peppering the buttons out. Another reason why you want like rank and file, like strong rank and file participation is like think about like a group like us. Think about like a group like At What Cost. Think about what our reps could do if they were like, yo, we got 1,000 buttons. We need to get them out to everybody in the stores. But they don't want to do it themselves. We would like jump all over that like eager puppies, right? Like we would want to go to Chico. We would want to go to Sac. We would want to go to Up to Bernie and like get the buttons up to everybody like in these stores, right? So they're missing out on a huge opportunity by not leveraging like rank and file members that want to participate. But with that being said, like let's help. Kevin had to leave already, but he reached out to his rep, reached out again, and got a bag of buttons finally dropped off and started handing them off in our store. And I printed them out a safety champion sign off sheet. I think that for the people that work out there in a Safeway, I think that's actually a really good uh, resource to use because it breaks down all of your employees by department. Uh, and it's a full employee roster, so that it's used when you're doing safety to make sure that everybody signs off on the safety stuff. You use it as a checkoff list for buttons, right? And make sure everybody gets a button. And then you can go around once you know everybody's got a button and just kind of reinforce it and people forget it, you give them a replacement, whatever. But that means that like each of us in our stores, we need like a couple hundred buttons. And so when they're coming around and they're dropping off like 15, 20 of them at a time to the people that are working, we're all not going to get buttoned up fast enough. So in my opinion, like if this is an action that our union is going to take on official capacity, they should be preparing for, planning for, and like executing it like on this level. And then when the reps are out and about, they need to be like, yo, get your button on, yo, get your button on, yo, we're in a contract extension. You know how important this is? And explaining to us and to everybody, to each other, what the importance is of rocking our buttons during this time. So let's help out. Let's do our part as people that want the UFCW to be strong, and let's take that role on ourselves in our stores and push each other to rock our union buttons and show solidarity with each other. It's also a great structure test. It's these little actions that we have to start building and convincing each other to do and to take and escalating those actions up to bigger and bigger asks so that we can know if we're going to go on a strike. The UFCW also knows what structure tests are. They'll do things like button tests or button campaigns to see if they even will have the capacity to pull off a strike, right? Can they even convince us to all go out on a strike? If they can't convince us all to wear buttons, no, they can't convince us all to walk out on a strike, guaranteed. So let's show them that we've got solidarity, that we can pull off an action, and let's get everybody in their buttons. If that's something that we can do, let's participate. Let's help however we can. I think that we're doing a pretty good job in our store. I'll check it out, and when we get back, I get on vacation right now, but when I get back on Monday, we'll check it out and see what's going on. But I've noticed it like escalating in our store. It's more and more people are wearing them, so that's cool. And I think Anderson, same thing's been happening at that store. So we just have to find a way to get out there, find a way to keep connecting. For those of you listening that are in other stores, getting into the Discord server, participating in the Discord server in the hall, in the chat, and the Take Action channel. It's a great way for us to know what's going on out there so we don't have to make trips out to everywhere all the time. So find a way to get connected that way. You can always reach out to me directly as well. And let's support this like button up campaign. It's a good structure test for us, and it's a good way to show the company that we are all locked in. We've got solidarity, and we're ready to stand together for a good contract. All right, moving on. What do we got going on? TDU, Teamsters for a Democratic Union. I don't know if I still have uh, that email opened up. Boom, here it is. Uh, we got invited by Stockton Teamsters Local 439. Shout out, what up? Woo! We got invited by them to go to their rank and file education conference, and it's going to be on May 4th, Sunday. And five of us got tickets, and we're going to head down there and we're going to participate in this daily workshop put on by TDU, hosted by the Stockton Teamsters. And I appreciate them reaching out to us. Again, I kind of alluded to it earlier in the meeting, but this is that cross union solidarity that I'm talking about. They've been hanging out, watching our meetings, hanging out in the YouTube channel, talking to me via text message, posting our stuff in different Facebook groups, grocery Facebook groups, and posting in our Facebook group as well. It's been cool. Uh, and now we get to go hang out with them, and they're at this conference, and I'm looking forward to it. Real quick, we've got a couple people in the room right now that are going to be going there as well. There's these are the workshops that are going on, and I think, but if you guys disagree, like say something now, but there's two that are very UPS like specific. They must be doing something with UPS down there or gearing up for a UPS contract down there. But there's also the other two I think are the two that we should look into. It's build bargaining power with a contract campaign. That's huge. And I think that the contract campaign platform is going to be very similar to another campaign platform that we're going to be interested in putting together soon. So we should consider that. And then the other one is bringing the union to the members. And I've got to do a couple different bringing the union to the members, one from Labor Notes and one from TDU in Chicago. And I think that's a really good one for us because our like one of our main like primary missions basically like the top things that we're trying to work on and we talk about it we spend a lot of time talking about at the beginning of all these meetings, is getting out to each other, getting this message out to each other, getting connected with each other, and staying connected. And so this bringing the union to the members meeting, I think, is a good one to do. Is that something that you guys are in agreement to it? Because we can break up and go to all of these, or we can focus on the ones that we think are the most beneficial for us.
No, I thought Delta ones were the way to go.
Okay. I think that's I think Delta is probably the name of the room in the hotel. I was trying to figure out what the heck that was. Um, it's probably the name of the conference rooms, but yeah, Delta One build bargaining power with the contract campaign, and that's going to be the 10:15 to noon, and then we have lunch, and then from 1:15 to 2:45 is bringing the union to the members, and that's awesome, dude. That talks about like whatever. I don't want to get too into it, but that's about a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And so it'll reinforce a lot of the stuff that we're doing, but it'll also give us a lot of ideas from Teamsters that have been doing it and have to work around a lot more aggressive company intervention ideas to do it on an even more personal, small group, like one-on-one level. So that'll be cool. And then they've got the closing session and happy hour. But all that's to be said, I'm super excited to get to participate in this. Thank you to the Teamsters that invited us. We really appreciate the invitation. Shout out to the five that were able to lock it in and commit to going. It's not easy to be able to make these kinds of commitments and then follow through, especially when it's like out of the area, like we're going to be having to make a commute and a day out of it. And I know that there's a few of you that are going the extra mile and are even going to use that as an opportunity to go down and talk to some UFCW members down in stores that we don't get to get into ever down in that area. And so that's an even extra step that you're taking on yourself to, and I mean, think about it. Like, I mean this, like, truly, like, what's in it for you? Short term is like very little, other than like if you get a dopamine like rush from like doing that kind of stuff, there's like a personal like chemical high that you get off of like going out and like organizing basically is what it is. Like that's true, like that's legit. But like that's a person you're making a personal sacrifice of your time, your energy, your like things that you could be doing. There's an opportunity cost, there's life that you're giving up, free time that you're giving up to and investing it in potentially improving like you not just your life and your working conditions, but the working conditions and the lives of everybody that you work with. And not just that, all working people. Like don't forget like the sacrifices that union members make, that benefits all working people. And it's these little micro sacrifices that I don't think get recognized and appreciated enough. And it's when they don't get made that the companies win. The companies get to take advantage of us. They get to push us and oppress us further. Our union, with its vast resources, its millions and millions of dollars, should be doing things to lift people like you up and to put you in positions of strength so that you can pursue these things and to give you the resources and to remove the barriers and the speed bumps that prevent you from doing that, that life puts in front of you and that your company and your workplace puts in front of you. They should be taking those things out of your way. And I think we have a lot to gain in our union, specifically by in doing that more for our members. But just want to recognize, like, you know, not myself, because I'm fucking sorry, because I'm crazy and have just been doing this kind of stuff. Like, but those of you that are like coming along and that bought the ticket, that paid the money to go to this conference, that took this invitation and at this resource, and are gonna go get it and get something out of it and bring it back to your coworkers, for all the things all the reasons I just spoke to. Um, there's a gratitude that is owed to you that I don't ever think gets paid to you. So thank you on behalf of everybody who never will. Thank you for going out and doing the thing. It's cool. It's very cool. So that's the TDU conference. We're going to go do it. We'll come back and talk about it. Bring up the calendar real quick. That's on May 4th, so that is a week from Sunday. And then super cool. That Friday the 9th will be our next Discord meeting, so we'll be able to talk to everybody about how that experience went. And then for those of you that are going down beforehand, maybe there will be some new people coming to the Discord meeting, but at the very least, you'll get to talk about your experience going into those stores and talking to those people, meeting those people, and kind of sharing what that was like with all of us. So we'll all have something to gain at that meeting, the Discord meeting on May 9th as well. So stay tuned for that. Moving right along, we are cruising on the calendar next week, or next, not next week, on the calendar is our next in-person meetup. It's May 18th. I believe that's confirmed. I did put a note in here to correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the third Sunday of May. So we should be locked in for Becca's Cafe, May 18th from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. Those have been cool. We're going to figure out the microphone situation, and that won't be, we'll take the time to make sure that's right before the next one, because people have been joining on the Facebook who haven't been able to go to the meeting live. That is one meeting of the in-person meetups aren't getting onto the YouTube channel. So another reason to get into the Facebook page is if you're not going to be able to make it to all the in-person meetings, those do stream live into the Facebook group. So that's a good way to participate in those if you can't make it for whatever reason, or if I don't know, maybe you have social anxiety outside of like the workplace and don't want to socialize but do want to participate, feel free to do it that way. That's a way to do it. And then I did with permission I got permission to invite everybody and let everybody know. It's been going on for a few Fridays now. I've made it to one of them, but there is a regular like pickup basketball going on at Enterprise Park at 3 o'clock on Friday afternoons. And that's been a bunch of people from the workplace, specifically from our store, that have been meeting up and playing. And they said, yeah, absolutely. Anybody that wants to come is more than welcome to come. So it's not an official at what cost meetup, but it is a union member meetup by all definition. So basketball games being played at 3 o'clock Enterprise Park. Bring your kids. There's been kids. I brought my son. Another coworker brought his son. His son was there, and everybody was just playing ball. It was a good time. That's the type of stuff that we need to like keep doing, keep participating in. I got invited to it, and that's why I went. It outside of my comfort zone. I don't play basketball, but that's what you do. It's like hey, we're gonna go do this thing. Do you want to come? It's like, dude, I've never done that before. Kind of nervous about it. Whatever, go do it. You might be surprised. You might find yourself shocked. And then, invite some coworkers to come do something that you think's cool. Introduce them to your hobby, and on we go forever, connecting and building solidarity and these webs of togetherness that cannot be broken by evil corporations. That is the goal. So basketball 3 o'clock, Becca's Cafe. Next one's May 18th. I think we can lock in third Sundays for Becca's Cafe. That's been really cool. I hit up the Bernie friends. None of them could make it in here live, but I did fire them off a message today asking when we're going to do the next bowling meetup with them. Uh, I think it would be cool to get up there again and actually bowl. We just hung out and had our meeting the whole time, but I'd be totally down to stay for another hour or two and do some bowling after we kicked it for a little bit at the bar. But Bernie, that was like a sweet hangout spot. So we got to do that again. Anybody in Bernie that wants to put that together, just go ahead and do it. And we'll just use that as a throw out to anybody. If you want to put together a meetup and you want to put at will cost name on it, go right ahead. If you want to invite your coworkers and you want to invite all of us, like please do. I would love to participate. I'd love to be there if I can. I can't go to everything for, scheduling reasons, but if I can make it, like I definitely will try. And, I know like Tony works night crew, so he can only make certain things, but if you're doing like a vampire party or something like he'll be there. I know he'll be there. Uh, so just keep doing it. And the more there is, the more we can make it to, the more we can come to, the more we can participate, the more options there are for people to do things, the more that they don't feel like they're always missing out on the thing. We work retail, so it kind of sucks. Like it's impossible to have like an event that everybody can make it to. So the solution to that is just more events at more times, doing more things. That's the solution. And people will get to make it to the ones they can make it to. But having stuff going on all the time is the solution to that problem. So if it's something we care about and something that we want, then it's something we'll do, right? That's kind of the motto here. It's kind of the new thought process is that if it's what we want our union to be, then we'll make it that way. Um, and we talk about that when we talk about things that we want to see in our UFCW like officially. Like if we want events that build solidarity, then we bring back things like the Great America trip that we all got to go to with this huge discount over the course of a weekend with like the food provided for free and all that kind of stuff. It's resources that we decide we're going to put into those things because we think that kind of solidarity and that kind of community building is important, right? Somebody at some point in time decided to take those resources away from those kinds of things. So just as easily, other people can decide to put those things back and maybe even take it to a new level and try new things. Like who knows? Like they're all that sky's the limit. But that mindset of is what we're talking about. It's what we're doing. It's what we're doing here. So just think about that with the backing of the entire UFCW and all of the resources of the UFCW and what that could unlock and what that could mean for us. And that's kind of, the idea behind what we want to achieve with at what cost. So if you want to participate in that as a union member and you have ideas for events and meetups, by all means, like take it and run. There's literally nothing stopping you, and everybody here is the opposite. They're encouraging you and want to participate. So yeah, sweet. Moving on, real quick, unfair labor practices. Um, we are in extended contract territory, so we're gonna wrap it up with this. But these are like the new secret weapon of unions. Basically, it is the thing that we can use against our companies to basically put ammunition in our weapon for a strike that is not dangerous to us as employees. So we've talked a lot about what an unfair labor practice strike is versus an economic strike and how much more protected we are. We had this conversation with Kathleen during the Worker to Worker YouTube video that we put out. I highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out, to go check it out. It's just me and Kathleen talking about basically like it was supposed to be about like, yo, I'm in local 8, it's like this, and you're in local 770, it's like that. But just like hearing the difference between the two of us talking and like what she's exposed to and what she knows versus what we're exposed to and what we know, it says it all. It says enough. So highly recommend you go listen to that. But she talked a lot about unfair labor practices and keeping an eye out for those and like trying to catch your manager interfering in your conversations. And it's a really important topic that we need to get educated on. So I wanted to bring it up. I'm not going to get into it super deep here. What I did was I grabbed a bunch of resources, bunch of information, and I put them in the resource channel. If you go into the Discord server and go into the resource channel under threads, you can find a thread that says what is an unfair labor practice. And there's a lot of information here. Really, the long and short of it is you have rights that are guaranteed to you under the National Labor Relations Act, and a violation of those rights is an unfair labor practice. So if your company or your union interferes with your right to discuss or participate with your coworker or one other person, basically, or a group of coworkers in talking about how you're going to improve your working conditions or what you want in your new contract. If your boss is like trying to convince you that you don't have to like go out on strike when your company calls a strike, you can actually stay and work, and they can actually hook you up with a pretty sweet schedule if you do that. That type of coercion is an unfair labor practice. It's interfering with your right to do those things. And so knowing that and being aware of that is the only way that you'll ever catch the bosses in that. The way that your rep would catch that in your store is if like they kept getting kicked out by the manager when they were trying to come in and talk to you about like what was going on with negotiations or whatever. It would be very difficult. I mean, look how hard it is for them to get buttons out to everybody. It would be very difficult for them to catch the actual number of unfair labor practice uh, events that could potentially be occurring in everybody's store. But I also wanted to bring up the fact that like your union can also be participating in an unfair labor practice, and that's not as common. It's kind of weird actually, but some of the stuff that like our union, UFCW, just has been doing is like it's not borderline unfair labor practice. It's like actually unfair labor practice. Like when the union rep goes around behind us, like when we're talking to each other, like when we're going around talking to each other about this stuff, like wanting to meet up and uh, talk about how to make our union stronger so that we can get stronger contracts, and we want to meet together, we want to collectively gather together, and we don't have a meeting spot. Can we get a meeting spot? And they say no. And then we say like, okay, well, we're going to make this room here instead, and we're going to come into this digital meeting room of the future. We're going to make it so that we have a spot to meet up. Okay, cool. We're gonna do that. So we start doing that. We start doing that. We start talking to our coworkers. Hey, come into this room. We have this room where we can meet up and we can talk about improving our working conditions. This is a place for us. Uh, and then they go to their rep and they say, Hey, what is this place that I'm hearing about from my coworker? And the rep's response is to not engage in that bullshit. That's all interfering with our right to collectively discuss improving our working conditions, and it's actually coercion. It's pushing people away from that, from participating in that activity, and that's a protected activity. So it's weird that in our situation we actually could point to unfair labor practices that our union is committing probably more easily than our company. That's because our company, our in our in the benefit to us, our company's doing the same thing to its management that our union's doing to its membership because it benefits everybody. Everybody being uneducated and just barely head above water and overworked to the core and just bombarded with so much BS from the outside that they can't focus in and hone in on what they need to do to fix their life in their workplace. That's like two entities working together to keep both their people suppressed and oppressed. Uh, so it's happening from both sides. So the managers are not like equipped for this battle. Like they're not out there like doing it, duking it out. Like what Kathleen sees down in 770, like where everybody's spears are sharp and everybody's on their toes and everybody's looking out for contract violations like all the time. Everybody's got to be on it. That's not what's going on up here. Um, and that's all by design. That's what a sinecure local is. That's like the money milking that is happening up here because we're the sleeping giant, just laying here snoozing, just getting milked for every penny. That's exactly what they want. They want a majority of their locals to be that way because it keeps the whole thing controllable. But we're shaking it. We're waking up. We're getting involved. I wanted to make sure you guys knew that this resource was available for unfair labor practices. There's a lot. Just look up the unfair labor practice Wikipedia page. And, shout out to Wikipedia. I know people talk down on Wikipedia as a resource. Like, look at it. It's very well resourced. It's a great jumping off point. You can always go to the National Labor Relations Board, NLRB.gov website, and read the National Labor Relations Act verbatim. What you want to read is Section 7 specifically. Unfair labor practices are included in there. Section 7 is what gets violated most often. All of this is available for you, but it's kind of like obtuse. So do each other the favor, start learning about it, start educating each other, start looking out for it. But, to our union staff that I know spend some time watching this and trying to take notes on how to do better job, like check yourself. You guys be careful. Like you can actually be committing the crimes that you're supposed to be helping us fight against. And like I told my rep at the very beginning of all of this, when he was throwing the paper, the surveys away that we were putting out for each other, that like that's a really lame thing to get accused of. Yeah, when we say we want to practice picket and they're like, no, you can't practice picket, there's a certain level of like shutting us down that like, yeah, I would agree with you, Jenica. Like it starts to move into like actually like interfering with our right to participate in protected activities. If you ever were to have to file an unfair labor practice charge, first of all, if it's against the company, go through your union and just let your union take care of it. The UFCW staff, there's plenty of them. Let them handle that. If it's against your union, you would want to contact your NLRB region specifically, and we are in Region 20, San Francisco region. Again, all of that is available in the resource page. But unfair labor practices are violations of your national labor relation rights guaranteed under the National Labor Relations Act. So start to look that up, start to educate yourself on that, and that's the type of strike you want to be able to go on. You want your local to be able to call a ULP strike against your company if a strike was forced upon us, which remember, the strikes aren't used as a attack weapon, they're used as the defensive weapon. A strike is used because the company is forcing us to go on strike because it's not giving us what we deserve. So you're not doing anything by asking for fair wages. You're not harming anything or anybody. You're not taking away from anybody. You're not taking food out of a CEO's mouth. You're not forcing a yacht to be sold. Like, no pain is being inflicted on any person when you demand a fair wage, a living wage. Being forced to strike to get it is something your company makes you do because it's a soulless entity that would rather you starve than get what you deserve, than pay you what you deserve. At various points in time and various points in history, companies will have various levels of courage at which to push you to that point of forcing you to contemplate potential starvation and homelessness versus a living wage. We have to decide where we're at and what we're willing to do to get that. I don't think is when I'm talking to people out there that we have very much left to give, which is why when I hear that we're getting dollar raises at the top scale, like I don't think that's gonna fly. I don't think it's enough for people at the top scale, but the people at the top scale are barely making it. So the people below that are not making it. And like, I don't care what you say about this job, our job, specifically grocery retail. Like, I don't care what you say about that, what you think that deserves in your scale of what working human beings like get in return for all of the working hours of their life being given to a company. Like, I don't care what you think that number is. I think it's a living wage. I think you should be able to afford a house, food, healthcare, education. I don't care if all of those things are too expensive. I'm going to have a conversation with a uh, union sibling out of Denver, Colorado that works for Kroger. And in our conversation, him and I joke about I don't care if what my rate of pay is $1 million a minute. If I can't buy a house with that, it's not enough. So inflate the dollar out of existence for all I care. I don't, it's not my problem. Make trucks $100,000 like my rep told me. How much do I deserve when trucks are $100,000? I don't care what the number is. What I care is that each week when I get my check, already it's gone because my bills are more than my income. Over and over and over again, no matter how hard I work, no matter how hard I try, no matter how hard I climb, no matter how many people I screw over to get to the top, it's never enough. That's the problem. And we have to fix that. We have a chance to fix that. We're union members. We have the opportunity to fix that through the threat of withholding our labor. Because when we stop producing for capital, it stops extracting from us all of the capital. That's the dynamic that truly exists. That's why they threaten us so much when we threaten them to strike. If they didn't care, they'd be like, go ahead, strike away. That's not how it works. So we have to have that courage. We have to find that courage. We have to start preparing for that, especially right now, because there's companies there's a reason why these grocery companies that we're in right now, they're dragging their feet. It's not because they wanted the whole West Coast to strike against them simultaneously. That's not what's up. It's because they think that if they wait long enough in this current climate where there is an active case from Trader Joe's, Amazon, Starbucks, and somebody else I can't remember against they're actually suing the NLRB and claiming it to be unconstitutional. They want to eradicate the National Labor Relations Board. That is the only thing we as union members have protecting us. That is the shield of the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Act. That is the body that enforces that act. Those companies, and if you hear who they are, like Amazon and Starbucks specifically, and you know, because we've talked about it numerous times, the battles those companies are waging against valid unionization efforts within them. They're at their final boss stage trying to claim that the NLRB is unconstitutional. So that's actively ongoing. Any company that can just sweat that out and just wait, it's one of the D's. We talk about the 4 D's all the time. This one is delay. If they can drag this out for as long as they possibly can, they may not have to worry about our contract at all. Just sweat it out. And it doesn't matter because if they just drag it out for a year and then give us our contract and don't give us any retro pay, and then in 6 months after that, boom, unconstitutional, goodbye. That's a whole year less that they didn't have to pay us, whatever it is we get. Even if it's just $1 an hour at the top, it doesn't matter. Remember, this is like a soulless capital company. It doesn't care about anything. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about anything other than profit go up, cost go down. Your cost, anything you can do to reduce the cost of you is a thumbs up to them. Whether it's get rid of two of you and replace it with an iPad and automatic ordering, done deal. If they can sweat us out for 6 months on a contract, that is real dollar savings to them. They don't care. Done deal. If 10 of us lose our houses because of it, don't care. Not their problem. Done deal. It's not a factor that they take into consideration. That's why we have unions. That's why we unionized. That's why we all collectively got together. Because we saw that, yeah, one or two of us can get our tongues so far into the boss's boots that we can make a life for ourselves. But when we look over to our neighbors and their house is not getting paid for, that's the cost. What's the name of this group? At what cost? What do we give up when that's what we take, when that's how we act, when we give in to these types of actions, when we behave the way they want us to? What do we lose? I think we lose our souls. I think we lose a piece of who we are as humans. And I think we lose out on the true potential of what we could achieve and have for each other and have for ourselves. We never even got to taste it. Good to see you, brother. We never even got to taste it, but we heard about it. It was a call to middle class. I think we miss out on that true potential when we give in to this, like race to the top. Only the strong survives. Number one wins, number two dies. That mentality, I think, is a losing mentality. So, um, this is something that applies to our country as well. Like that's why this labor movement is so important. When you talk about taking away our right as union members, you talk about the attack on federal union contracts, which breaking news, a judge blocked today. Federal unions protected as of today. Um, that's great news. Our collective right as workers to bargain for our working conditions is a fundamental right. We have to be willing to do whatever it takes to protect. Um, so being in the UFCW and the UFCW being as strong as it can, that makes us as individuals strong. We see it in the Teamsters. We see it in the UAW. We see it in Starbucks Workers United. These unions are strong, strong people, strong groups. They get stuff done. Uh, if we could all get that big and that powerful and join together, even, which is why I talk about things like going to this Teamsters conference, that's how we change, like, not just how our jobs are at Safeway, Albertsons, Raley, Stater Brothers. That's how we change how jobs are in this country. That's how we change what working means in this country. We have the power to do that. No one of us does, but all of us together do. And so that's why I get really excited when people reach out from other unions and say, like, hey, keep going. What you guys are doing is important. It's why we got to keep doing what we're doing. It's why this fight is so important. It's why we have to be willing to fight. You know, I have changed the language that I'm using. I slipped up once and said the F word today. I apologize, but I've changed the way that I'm trying to deliver the message. It's not as angry as I truly feel inside, but I try to keep it as aggressive and as direct as it needs to be for people to hear that what I truly feel is an important message, which is that I don't think these companies are going to give us what we deserve. I think we have to be willing to fight. I hope that we don't have to fight, but they have to know that we're willing to. And if push comes to shove, I will. I have one vote, but I will do my part to try to make sure people understand how important it is. Um, we have to decide what we want our union to be and what we want our union to mean in that fight. I feel like in its current state, it fights more for the status quo. It's not fighting for change. It's not fighting for a better life. They've said just as much with their own words. Their actions back it up. Um, I want a union that stands up against corporations, like loudly and proudly, like you hear Kim from UFCW Local 7 say in her videos, like we see from the leadership in 3000, 770. That's what I want Local 8 to be. I don't want a local that goes behind closed doors and wheels and deals with the boss, wheels and deals with our oppressors. Like the corporation is like that, that's our oppressor. So for you to go into a room and look, both of you guys look out at us and shut the door, that I don't feel good about that relationship. And I don't think anybody I've talked to does either. I can only speak for myself, but for everybody that I've spoken to, that's I'm not isolated in that thought. That feels like we're on the outside of that relationship. So I encourage you to talk to your rep about the kind of union you want to have, and at the same time, just be that person, and talk that way to your coworkers. Let them know what power we have, but that power comes with our ability to withhold our labor. And if we're not willing to withhold our labor, we don't have that power. Our power is not in our contract. Our power is not in our ability to chant or to meet up at Becca's Cafe. Ultimately, it's for all of us to agree to stop working. That's our true power. The threat of that is our true power. Um, so we have to have that. All right, that's a wrap. We have our next meeting on May 9th at 9 p.m. You can hit interested in the event tab, and you'll get a reminder when it goes live, just like I did tonight. If there's anything you ever want to discuss or add to the agenda, please add it. If you ever want to call a meeting, please call it. Reminder, this is when we stop recording. So if anybody has anything they need to talk about or say that they don't want live on YouTube, we do not put everything online. This is a reminder to the people from UFCW staff that that's possible. It's 2025. You can do it. All right, that's a wrap. We did it.